Welcome to Bahati, talking about real issues that are affecting you as an individual. Insights about financial and personal growth, plus better relationships. And now, Bahati.
It's a beautiful, beautiful moment whenever we have to get into a time of learning, a time of downloading content. I call it content from heaven, where God is speaking directly to our souls, repositioning us and enabling us to fulfill the purpose for which we were created and for which we were born, and just to make sure that we have this conversation, to accelerate each other, to help each other, to hold each other's hand. That's what I call it. I don't know how you call it, but for me it's a pleasant moment. Every time I have to appear here, every time I have to come to where you are, your sitting room, your phone, wherever you are, whether you're in a taxi, wherever you are, for me it's a pleasant moment. Just know I don't take it for granted. I am so glad that in such a time as this, we are here having this conversation, and I know that it's going to be life-changing. My prayer for you today is for clarity and to be sober while you are making the decisions, because you are a totality of the decisions that you make, and the quality of your decisions determine the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your career, the quality of your finances, the quality of your family. So my prayer for you today is that you will make sober decisions, okay? That you will remain rooted even when you are facing uncontrollable situations, overwhelming situations, and most especially as the year goes on, I pray that you will be filled with energy, with alertness, with soberness, that you will be totally rooted and grounded and be able to make sober decisions. And I hope that you take that prayer so seriously in your life and even in everything else that you do. Today, I want us to talk about something to do with your calling, but I want us to get this from the perspective, because I didn't know there was anything to do with a calling. And if you want to tag this or to write somewhere, I want you to write or tag it as you have to overcome your fear. You have to overcome your fear. Like, there is no debate about that. We're not going to sit here and debate, should I overcome my fear or should I not overcome my fear? Why? Because your progressing in life is tied to how you overcome your fear. And so if you're going to make it in business, if you're going to make it in your calling, if you're going to make it in ministry, if you're going to make it in your family, if you whatever arena of your life, we are not going to debate. That's undebatable. You have to overcome your fear. And the reason as to why I call it your fear is because you have it inside of you. You have fed it. You have fattened it, okay? And the more you feed it with doubt, the more you feed it with complaints, the more you feed it with whatever is happening in the economy, whatever is happening in the world, with all the bad news, with all the stress that is going on, we are constantly feeding our fear and we are starving our faith. And that is not working to our advantage. So today, I want us to know that the journey that we are taking is to really kill or overcome the fear. And actually, killing is not the right word, because you will never kill the fear. It will always come up. It will always be present. But just like in the Mentorship Academy, we usually say that do it afraid. Okay, do it afraid. That courage is not the absence of fear, but courage is doing in spite of the fear. As in, it is there, yes, you recognize it is there. Whatever you are going to do, whether you're going to speak to a girl about marriage, you're a guy, whether you're going to speak to a guy about marriage, the fear will be there. Whether you're a lady and you feel your relationship should go to the next level, you know that bringing it up is also you're going to have fear. Whatever stage, whatever good thing you're going to do in life, fear is going to spring up somewhere, somehow, okay? But that does not mean that we should be able to abandon whatever we are doing. And I want us to start this discussion back from when I had not even started doing the things that I'm doing right now, being an encourager and holding people's hands and, being able to activate people's passion and people's purpose to be able to serve their God in their God-given calling. I remember I got to a time where I was also at a crossroad, a very huge crossroad. I know I've shared some of these stories or snippets of these stories somewhere somewhere. But when I was at a crossroad, it was a time in my life where I was going to go through a very rough spot. And in that rough spot, I was broke, I was heartbroken, I was going through a lot. And I remember that time I'd already enrolled back into Chambogo for studies and for counseling and guidance, because that is what I wanted to do. And so I get to the finishing year and I want help from someone. I will not name who that person was, but I wanted help from someone, and it was from someone in authority, and someone that had been there, had someone that had also lectured me, someone, had, worked out life somehow. And so I really needed help. And I was in church. I had learned the word because I'd grown up in a Christian home. Yes, my mother became a Christian or became born again after some time. She didn't start off as a born again Christian, but when she got born again, we were really young, so we grew up in church, literally reciting scriptures and going to Sunday school. And so if it was about God, if it was about praying, if it was about fasting, if it was about, I had done it all. And believe me, it has power. Okay, that is why I cannot divorce my life from fasting. I cannot divorce my life from prayer. I cannot, because vividly, firsthand, I have seen the power of God at work in my life. And not whenever I engage Him, but every single time God has come through for me. Okay, so the spiritual part, that was good. I didn't have any problem. But now I was battling with real life issues. Okay, real life issues. The real life issues of, I love someone and I am heartbroken, okay? I can't be with them. And so I needed to be able, I was going through a depression. I was going through a moment of lack, financially. I was in a very bad spot. I could not even sustain myself. I didn't even have what to eat. I would foot from campus back to my car room. I didn't even know where rent was coming from. So you realize that through all life challenges and everything that bombards you from every single side of your life, that is where I was, right in the middle of the rut, where you are running and you're not getting out of poverty, where you are running and you're not getting out of the heartbreak, where you even go to church. I remember one time I went to China and I asked myself, why exactly am I in church? Where was God when all this was happening? And that was bitterness speaking. That was anger speaking. But one thing that changed my life, and that is why I am here to actually share about it. One thing that changed my life was not necessarily a sermon, because I had had so many sermons. And believe me, sermons are powerful. I preach. So you're getting this from someone who preaches, from a preacher. Sermons are powerful. But whatever help I got was through mentorship, by someone sitting me down to talk about the real life issues. And for me, mentorship did not even have to come from someone that sat me down to talk to me, because I tried that. I went to a counselor, I went to a professor, someone that I thought had authority in that industry, someone that had even, lectured me and all that. And I stormed out of their office without a single answer, without a single help to my problems. And guess what? That is when I went online. And so I started searching and researching. Remember, for everything that actually has happened in my life, I've taken it as a personal quest. Remember, I told you about, how I got into therapy for marriages, for relationships and marriages. That was my personal quest, because I had seen firsthand what had happened between my mother and my father. And so I did not want that to ever happen to me as a person. I wanted to have a happy marriage. I wanted to have a happy home. I wanted to have a good husband. I wanted to have beautiful children. So I took it as a personal exploration and a personal quest, a personal search for answers. And so in helping myself, I ended up helping so many people that I still help them up to today. Now, even when it came to heartbreak and my financial status and running in a rate, being depressed, I went on a personal quest. I went online and I got coaches online and I got mentors online, and I started following, I started reading, I started practicing, I started helping myself out. And I remember one of the people that was really pivotal in my life was a gentleman called Dan Peters. I usually refer to him as my American uncle. I remember one time he sat me down in the middle of a heartbreak. He sat me down and he did not preach to me. Now, this gentleman that I called my American uncle had 2 daughters, and these were daughters that were obviously older than me. So he sat me down. I think he looked at me and he had mercy on me, because I was just running around like a headless hen. Like I didn't know what else to do. What was the next point in my life? He sat me down, and from him, that is where I got this saying that says he told me that, you know, Hilda, do you know that men are like boda bodas? When one goes, another one will come. And to me, like, that was hilarious. I was going through a heartbreak. I didn't expect anyone to tell me, but let me tell you, that me sitting down with him and him talking to me vividly about life and how there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of opportunities, and how I should not just strangle my future because of what is currently happening in that moment, but I should be able to envision further and be able to do, you know, to do so much better for myself. My goodness, that was a complete turnaround for my life. That was a complete turnaround for my life. So for my life to turn around, that didn't come from a sermon. It came from someone who had the courage to sit me down and talk to me about my financial status, talk to me about a relationship status, talk to me about my dreams, talk to me about my vision, talk to me. I remember he's the first person that asked me, what do you want to do with your life? And as in, he gave me so many options. We came up with so many options that I chose to start a private practice, even when I had not seen anyone do a private practice when it comes to counseling and therapy. And so, I mean, we even came up with a name. I remember he was traveling back to the US, and he told me, okay, I'm just on a plane right now, but I feel there's so many names following the conversation that we had. Do you see what a mentor does? Do you see what a coach does? A person who holds your hand and even thinks about, not just thinks about himself. That is why I usually say mentors are not supposed to be mean. They're not supposed to be egocentric. They're supposed to be selfless. So he was sending me names. While he was on his flight back home, he was sending me names, and that is how we started. For those of you that started with me back, I mean, more than 12 years back, that is how we started with Life Fix. Life Fix literally came from Dan Peters, but he held my hand at a moment where I was lost, and he did not open a single scripture, and he did not give me a sermon, and he did not, all he did was talk about real life. But I am so thankful until today that he had the courage to actually come and speak to me. He would have, I mean, anyone else, you've seen people, maybe they take you to a party, they give you money or handout here and there, they do, but the courage to be able to speak, to sit down someone and speak into their lives, that is something that is lacking in so many arenas. And so many times when we see change happen, sometimes we see the tip of the iceberg. But when you see an iceberg, just know that underneath it, when you dig deeper, when you go beneath the water, it is bigger than you think. Now, those are the problems that we are seeing. Sometimes the issues that people are able to help us with are just tips of the iceberg. But we have so much that is happening down here, so much depression, so much disappointment, frustration. We think we will never make it. We're going through betrayals. Some of us have wounds that we can never even open for other people to see. And that is the biggest part of the iceberg. But that iceberg change happens only when a courageous person is able to penetrate your life, to come into your life and be able to sow certain seeds, to speak certain words, and out of courage. And that is why I said you have to overcome your fear. If you're going to help anyone else, if you're ever going to help your children, if you're ever going to help anyone else in the world, if you are a pastor and you're going to help people in your church, if you are, let me say, a CEO and you're going to help people in your organization, if you're HR, if you're a departmental leader, if you're a manager, whatever category you belong to, if you are going to help anyone in this world, even if it is your sibling, you have to overcome the fear in order for you to step into the calling that God has for you. to help the people that you are supposed to help, or to help the people that are assigned to you. There are people that are assigned to you, people that you must help as an individual, but you're never going to help. I mean, Dan, I don't think in his whole life he knew that I was assigned, he was assigned to me as a helper. I don't think he looked at it that way. But even up to the time he looked at me and told me, because he knew my story about my family, he even took time to come to my church. He saw me interpreting. He saw me, he usually made fun about the church where I used to go. It's still the church where I go up to now. But back then it was in a miserable state. But I was this young, energetic girl interpreting in church, interpreting my mother. And I was sold out to the gospel, sold out to everything. And so he was like, when I looked at you once in that church, I knew there was so much potential, but I knew I had to speak up and I had to speak into your life. I had to invest my time into your life so that you can become the person that God wants you to become. Just imagine a stranger that I had no connections with. My own father could not do that, okay? Or maybe, what would I say? Maybe I had people close to me that would not do that to me, but a stranger, someone that I did not even know existed, came. And even if, I mean, he achieved so many things in this world, but one of his dying wishes, and what he talked to me close to his departure or close to his death, he told me, Hilda, you have made me proud. I remember him telling his own daughter, his own biological daughter, telling the biological daughter that I wish you can become the woman Hilda is becoming. I didn't take that lightly. I don't know how the other person took it, my friend. I don't know. But to me, as in, I was like, you know what? I'm going to outdo myself. I'm going to commit myself to this journey, to my growth, to my expansion, to my evolving. I am going to do everything. But it started with someone overcoming their fear, not seeking to be a people pleaser. Because if he had sought to be a people pleaser with me, he would never have nurtured the calling that was inside of my life. I would never have stepped up to the plate. So people are going through a lot. The iceberg change, okay, needs to happen in people's lives. And guess what? God is trusting you and I. The reason as to why I'm bringing this message to you, and the reason as to why I even have the Mentorship Academy. And the Mentorship Academy is rolling out, so you feel free to enroll. If you feel you have a calling inside of you to help other people, to hold their hand, you can be able to sign on so we can start this journey and be able, but it was a courageous journey, even for me. We're starting it at the beginning of the pandemic. Starting this journey of mentorship was not an easy feat. It wasn't a luxurious thing. It was hard. It had to take faith and saying that, you know what, even if it's one person that signs on, even if it's two people that sign on, when we had the live sessions, even if two people show up, I will have this live session. It had to be me completely overcoming my fear day by day in order to hold other people's hands. And guess what? So many people have gone through the mentorship. So many people are doing businesses. They are influencers. They are coaches. They are counselors. They are consultants. They are experts in their industries. And it's, I mean, up until now, I don't believe it. And I do not want to even feel like I've done anything. I have not done anything. If anything, that just is just the tip of the iceberg. That means there are so many people to be helped in this world. And I don't want to ever even think that there's anything that I have done, okay? So my help came from a person who had the courage to say certain things, okay? And if they didn't have the courage, I would have been stuck right now. I would have been stuck even right now as I speak if they did not get the courage to do the things that they did in my life. So some of the most meaningful messages the people that are going to hear are not going to be necessarily from pulpits. They're going to be you speaking into their lives. you giving them the time, you listening to them. When you talk about binding broken hearts, sometimes binding broken hearts takes one-on-one meeting, takes one-on-one session, you speaking words of kindness to someone else. Maybe it's not going to be on the pulpit. The pulpit, I mean, that is marvelous, that is miraculous. We tend to help so many people at a go. But how about if you committed your life to have very meaningful conversations with people in your circle, your friends, your siblings, your children, the colleagues, okay? Be a source of inspiration, a source of motivation, a source of encouragement to some of those people. And some of them will come in form of us being there for them. Some of them will come in form of, not everyone that comes to me that it is a transaction. Some people have come to me and told me, I don't have the money, but I need someone to talk to. And I have given them time to talk to. So sometime it's not going to be about the income or about the money or about anything. For me, it's usually about the satisfaction. Let me tell you, there is satisfaction in doing what you are meant to do, what you were born to do, okay? So some of it is going to be in form of a hug, in form of a conversation, in form of a sit down with someone, okay? So I don't want you to belittle that. And sometimes we admire people who speak to multitudes and we're like, oh, they're the only ones doing anything great. No, you sitting with another person just in close proximity and having a conversation with them, that takes away you overcoming your fear. But again, that also helps the other person transition into a person that can help another person after they have grown, okay? So that is why I love talking to people. That is why I love helping people come up with their own messaging, help them to find out whether they're counselors, whether they're coaches, whether they're writers, whether they're speakers, to find out their strength, their purpose, okay? That is why I love having these conversations with people. And sometimes it's not going to be, just like I said on the pulpit, not through a keynote. Maybe you're not going to be the biggest influencer in the world. Maybe you're not going to be, all those things are good, but maybe that is not your arena of experience or expertise or of operation, okay? So I don't want you to overlook what you can do because other people are doing mega things and they're doing them on bigger platforms. I want you to be able to trust yourself enough that you are called, you are important, you have something important, you have a good message to give out there. And sometimes a good message, you need to be able to find your voice. And in order to find your voice, you have to overcome your fear. You have to overcome your fear. The fear of, how are they going to look at me? How are they going? And maybe quickly, let's talk about those fears. Because again, if we don't talk about those fears, some of you will never have to understand. Because after I was helped, I had to start helping other people. But number one, I had to overcome the fear of embarrassment. How are people going to look at this? When I put it out there, when I remember so many people laughed at me. What is a private practice? What are you even planning to do? When I made posters, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, people would ask, but what are these? And sometimes it was even a new concept. People were not aware. They didn't know about coaching. They didn't know about therapy. And so I looked like a person that was, like I had my head in the sand somewhere. I looked nuts. I looked crazy. But if I had dwelt on the part of how are people going to look at me? How are people going to think about me? Okay, that means I was putting people's opinions above my assignment. Remember, that is my assignment, to help another person. So if I place other people's opinion above my own calling, my own assignment, that means I'm not going to do my assignment. Why? Because I'm going to be embarrassed that, oh, maybe it's not going to work out. What if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't pan out what if it doesn't turn out the way I hoped it would turn out? It's okay. I will start again if I have to, or you will start again if you have to. So one of the things that you have, or the fears that you have to overcome, is the fear of embarrassment. Right now, no, nothing embarrasses me. I cannot put people's opinion before my assignment. If it is my assignment, if I feel the need to do it, I will go ahead and put it out there. It doesn't matter how many people come through. It doesn't matter who shows up. It doesn't matter. For me, I have done my job. My answer or my response to God is saying, yes, God, I will go for us. So if I decide and say I will go for us, let the people show up or not show up, I will still go for us, okay? So you have to overcome the fear of embarrassment. Number two is the fear of ineffectiveness. Okay, the thing of saying I'm not going to be good, there are people who are better than me, maybe in coaching there are people who are better than me, maybe in preaching there are people who are better than me, maybe in whatever it is that you are called to do. I know that some of you don't know your purpose. That is why you should sign up for the mentorship. But if you already know your purpose, you should never think, or you should never let the fear of ineffectiveness sit on you and deter you from doing what you are supposed to do, deter you from practicing your assignment. Okay, you are as good can be, and you can get better if you decide to start doing what you are meant to do. Because we can only get better by practice. We can only get better by doing. We cannot get better by sitting and waiting for us to get better. Who got better by sitting and folding their hands? No, we get better doing through the mistakes that we make. We get better by standing up again when we fall down. We get better by rehearsing. We get better by practicing. We get better by putting ourselves out there. Okay, so I need you to overcome the fear of ineffectiveness. Some people, even as a manager or as a CEO or as a business owner, you have that fear inside of you, the fear of embarrassment. Now, what if I start a business and people never show up? Or what if I'm ineffective, I'm not good enough? Maybe there are people who have gone ahead of me in this business and they have done so well for themselves. Who says that there is only a limited number of people that are supposed to perform well? And that is where ineffectiveness comes, the fear of ineffectiveness comes because of comparison. You're busy comparing yourself. Instead of molding, instead of creating what God has told you to create, instead of doing what you are meant to do, you are busy looking at other people. Just imagine. You're busy looking at how others are dribbling their ball. You're busy looking at how others are starting their businesses. You're busy looking, and this is what we usually do. Because ineffectiveness, by the way, it delays us and deters us from doing what we are meant to do. We keep thinking, me, I am still learning, I'm still observing. Let me tell you, you're going to observe until the day you die, and you will never amount to anything or do anything. Fungiza. Make sure that you involve yourself. Make sure that, yes, you are willing to embarrass yourself. Be willing to embarrass yourself. Whether you want to start a journey of public speaking, you're not going to start as a pro. You're not going to start as the best public speaker. I'm not even anywhere close to being the best. But I learn every day. The reason as to why I'm here, I am being myself, I'm being authentic, I am speaking what I need to speak, and as I speak, I am getting better. Okay? So what is delaying you? What is holding you back? The fear of ineffectiveness, that, oh, what if I write a book and I write it wrongly? Write it. Let's start there. What if I speak and I don't speak according to how other people expect me to speak? Those are their expectations. Can you speak what you have in your mind to speak? Okay? So I need you to overcome that fear. You have to overcome that fear in order to do anything that God ever called you to do, whether it's a business, whether it's having an organization, starting a company, starting manufacturing, whether it's to start a family, whatever it is that you need to do that God predestined that you would do, you need to overcome the fear so that you can step into what God has designed for you. Otherwise, if you're still gripped by fear of embarrassing yourself, you might as well not eat. You might as well not move. You might as well, you get it. Okay? So, fear of ineffectiveness. And I told you that comes because you're busy comparing yourself. Okay? You can't be like everyone. You can't speak like everyone. You can't do business like everyone. You can't put on like everyone. No. Be authentic. Be you. But put yourself out there. And the third one is the fear associated with imposter syndrome. The awareness of your own struggles and your imperfections. Because we are aware. We are aware. And the reason as to why so many times we are aware is because we have seen people do it different. We have seen people do it better. We have seen people do it faster. So now we know that we have struggles and we have imperfections. But guess what? Other people are usually not looking at the imperfections or looking at the struggles. Other people are only seeing that you are ahead of me and I want to become like you. Just like when I started the mentorship. I didn't start the mentorship for any other reason. I started the mentorship so that I will give what I have. I will pour into people what I have. Because what I've usually told them is, you're going to be better than me and you have what it takes to be better than me. You're not going to just get to my step and stop there. No. The best I can do is give you what I have. As I also tend to become better, you also grow to be better. And you can overtake me. You can be way better than me. A proud mentor is one that thinks and hopes and prays that the people that they are mentoring can be better than them. A good mentor does not place a glass ceiling on people to give them a sense of arrival that, oh, if you've reached this level, then no. I usually tell them, even when I have one-on-one, even the alumni, those that started back in 2020, when they come back to me, I tell them, you still have gaps. You can still do better. You can still do this. You can still earn more money even than me. You can speak better than I speak. You can have better coaching practices than I have. Okay, so I need you to overcome your fear. The imposter syndrome, you're struggling with your own imperfections. Okay, so they make you think like you are underqualified. They make you think like you are a rookie. They make you think like you cannot amount to anything, or you're not good enough to even do it. So no one has it together. I am still struggling with a few things, and I am not ashamed to say I'm imperfect in so many ways. Okay, so if you want to figure it out, to figure it all out so that you can start, you will never start. I'm still figuring out so many things. I am still, up to this day, I'm still figuring out so many things. And so are there so many experts that you see out there, or there's so many people that you admire. They have not arrived. They're still figuring out certain things. They're still struggling with certain things. They're still imperfect in so many ways. But guess what? They started. They fed their faith and they starved their fear. So they overcame their fear. They got the courage to start this journey. And so many people, you should be glad that you're actually progressing. And so many people that want to reach where you are. They just want to reach where you are. That is their drive. They want to reach where you are. That means you have one or two things that you can actually say to them. You have a lot you can give to them. Okay? Remember, they just want to reach where you are. They don't want you to give them anything that you don't have. Just like Jesus said when he went through the beautiful door, that what I have is what I give to you. Silver and gold, I have none. But what I have is what I give to you. Get up and walk. So what I have is healing. I can heal you and you can walk. I don't have the silver and the gold. Okay? So what you have is what you give. You cannot give what you don't have. Okay? So give what you have. Don't seek to overplease people by giving them things that you don't have and promising them heaven and earth. No. Tell them, this is the journey that I have taken. This is the mistakes. These are the mistakes that I have done. You should learn from these mistakes so that you don't fall in the same ditches. As in, this is my journey. So research more, read more, be more informed, okay? Get more knowledge, get more wisdom. And you don't just have to stick to me that, oh, if you're being mentored by me, so you should only listen to me. Listen to a variety of messages, to a variety of mentors, to a variety of coaches. I know that you have it in you that you can see what is right and what is not right, what to do and what not to do. You should not just be too limited. No one should be able to cocoon you and limit you too much, okay? So that is the fear that is associated with imposter syndrome, and I don't want us to fall prey in that in that way. I need you to know that you have a voice, and whether you are at a state, because so many of us are at different levels. Some of you. You're in a moment where you are just trying to find your voice. And that is how so many people sign into the accelerated mentorship. They're trying to find their voice. They know that there's something more. On Tuesday, we usually have live sessions, Q&A, on Tuesdays at night on Zoom. And so they were telling me that, oh, I entered this, by the time I signed up, I didn't know what I wanted. I was just depressed. I wanted personal growth. I wanted to know how to be better as a person. Other people, they entered knowing they wanted wanted to be coaches, others wanted to be, counselors, others wanted to be experts and consultants in their industries and in their fields of expertise. And so you realize that so many of us are at different levels. Maybe someone is trying to find their voice, that okay, I can be a podcaster, that okay, I can be I can speak on radio, that oh, I can actually be a coach, that oh, I can go do a live session on Facebook, on Instagram, or I can do A, B, C, and D. All those are avenues, okay? All those are careers, delivery forms for people that are trying to find their voice. But you can't find your voice while you're keeping quiet. That means you have to do something. So if you don't know what to do, hook onto a group of people, a community that will direct you, that will point you in a proper direction. But the number one thing that I want you to put in your mind this year, if you're going to achieve anything, as a business person, as a people helper, to find your voice, and number two, to raise your voice. People that are trying to find their voices are trying to find their voices as in you're in a season where you're trying to find out, am I a coach? Am I a counselor? Am I just a mother that so many people are seeking my help in as a mother? Am I a good father that people are really seeking help from? Am I a business mentor? Who am I? I need you to be able to find that for yourself. There's something that God deposited inside of you. You can't tell me that you are nothing. You are something, you are somebody, you are gifted, you have a calling inside of you. So I need you to be able to find that. And then some people are in a state of mind or in a season where they're trying to raise their voice. They found their voice, they started speaking. Some people have had their voice, but now they're in a moment where they need, or you are in a moment where you need to raise your voice so that more people can be able to hear you. That means we need to have strategy. That, okay, you need to be able to go on platforms. You need to be able to speak up. You need to be able to have speaking engagements. You need to be able to create a community. You need to be able to create a course. You need to be able to write a book. You need to be able, so you are raising your voice. You're not finding your voice. You are past finding your voice. Now you are raising your voice. And in order to do two of those, finding your voice and raising your voice, okay, so that the gift that you have inside of you can benefit many, okay? Just imagine someone knows how to cook. For example, I know. I will blow my own trumpet. I cook good food. I know it. I cook good food. But now, there are people who are just learning. And I remember that so many times, my sister usually tells me, I mean, you've taught me how to cook, that when I cook, someone cannot differentiate between the food that I have cooked and the food that and the food that you have cooked. So you realize that I went from finding my voice in cooking, I mean, learning from my mother, and how she used to cook and everything, to just cooking for my family. And now if I need to raise my voice, that is taking it a notch higher for people that are really interested in that, and they have gone ahead to open restaurants. I think you've eaten someone's food who loves cooking every day, everywhere. They're busy doing something. And you're like, why don't you start a restaurant? Because then you can serve more people, okay? Now, even with the small advice you've been giving, you need to raise your voice and be able to be heard by more people. If you've been dealing with teenagers and you've been talking to one teenager, two teenagers, people have been sending you their teenagers and you've been talking to them and they're doing quite well, now it is time for you to raise your voice so that more teenagers globally can be able to benefit from that. But in order to find your voice or to raise your voice, you have to be able to overcome your fear. People are out there. People need help. People are depressed. People are crying themselves to sleep. People are giving up on their lives. People are committing suicide. People, before even the year starts, people have given up. People are tired. People are exhausted. Okay? But you and I can be able to help them. You and I can be able to hold their hands. So whether you need to find your voice or you need to raise your voice, whatever help you need to overcome that fear. And sometimes to even tap into getting the help that we need to overcome the fear of embarrassing ourselves, of imposter syndrome, of ineffectiveness. You just decide and say, you know what, I have seen, like so many people have seen me promote the Mentorship Academy, and some of them have enrolled after 3 years of seeing every year and every month, seeing all these posters, and they're like, you know what, I wanted to enroll the other year, I wanted to enroll the last year, but I didn't have the courage, you know, I feared. So I was like, what did you fear? You know, some people, by the way, have looked at me and said, I thought you're not approachable. I thought you're not this and this and this. But again, when a friend told me that they're part of the program, I was like, let me also come. And when they came, and then when I came, I found you're the sweetest person. You're willing to hold my hand. You're willing to help me out to nurture the calling that I have inside of me. So you realize that fear keeps us away from so many things. Fear keeps you away from so many things. So I need you to find your voice. I need you to raise your voice. But in order to do these two, you have to overcome your fear, okay? You have to say it louder so that people can be able to hear from you. And the common denominator, just like we said, that is holding people back is the fear. Whether they are new, whether they are trying to find their voice, whether they are trying to raise their voice, it is fear. You feel like you are not good enough. You feel like you will not have the right words. You feel like you will not say the right words at the right moment. How will I handle people? Have you ever been there and been scared? How will I talk to them? When they feel bored? How we feel like the need to entertain people. We have not been called to entertain people. No. Even if you have to say one word, and that is the word that is going to help someone. Some of us, the people that are assigned to us, are still struggling and they're still running a rat race. Why? Because we have not mastered and garnered the strength and the courage, and we have not overcome the fear in order to come out and tell people that, you know what, hold my hand, let me pull you out of your doubt. Hold my hand, let me pull you out of imposter syndrome. Hold my hand, let me pull you out of a depression. Hold my hand, let me pull you out of financial struggles. Hold my hand. Why? There's so many people that means the moment you do not heed or you do not answer to your call, there are so many people that are stuck and so many people that are gnashing, they're struggling. Why? Because you're not willing to overcome your fear. It's like a mother that decides, and I will talk about a mother because a mother is a deciding factor in a home, okay? A father can even be absent, but for as long as, and I'm not saying that fathers should be absent, no. But for as long as a mother is steadfast, a mother is diligent, a mother is there because she is the nurturer. I mean, she will try to hold so many spaces for these children. We've seen generations where with absent fathers, even when right now what we are talking about is fathers, please return to your homes and return to nurturing your children and return to being present for your family. That is how we are going to be able to defeat the enemy and everything else that is cropping up in this generation, which is not easy at all, and it cannot be handled by one parent. I mean, people are stressed, parents are stressed, teachers are stressed, everyone is stressed. So who is going to help who? That means it's your mandate, it's your calling. If you feel it inside of you that you should be able to step forth, you should be able to take the mantle, you should be able to answer to the call, you should be able to pick up that call, because God is calling you that I need to help these people, but I cannot come with my mighty voice and be able to take them out of that darkness and that depression. I can only use humans, and I want to use you. And I hope that you can know it, that God wants to use you. You should be able to let go of those fears that we talked about, of embarrassment, of ineffectiveness, of imposter syndrome, so that you can say, you know what, come what may. Whether they laugh at me, whether they appreciate me, whether they don't appreciate, I've not come for anything. I am just showing up as God's mouthpiece, that I will find my voice, that I will raise my voice so that more people can benefit from the calling that I have inside of me. Okay? So that fear has to be addressed. And you know, one thing that really hurts me is the fear robs us of fulfillment. Because one thing that you helping people or serving people gives you is the satisfaction. And let me tell you, you can never get that satisfaction from anywhere else. You can never get it from the biggest car or the best car in the world. You can never get it from the best house in the world. As in, nothing in terms of possession can ever give you the kind of fulfillment that I'm talking about. So your fulfillment, your satisfaction is tied to your contribution to the world. So what is your contribution? I don't want you to sit on it. Your best, and I feel so bad if I talk about the satisfaction and some people cannot even relate to it. That means you have not done anything. You have not even practiced your calling, not even the tip of it. Otherwise, you would have known. For me, you would rather take everything else from my life, but leave the satisfaction that is derived from helping God's people, from holding people's hands, from being there with them, from walking the journey with them, from encouraging them, from supporting them, from cheerleading on their dreams and their visions. For me, that is the greatest, the epitome of happiness is the satisfaction that comes with serving, with helping people. So what fear does is it robs us of that fulfillment, because it will keep you second guessing yourself. What should have been, what could have been. If I had started, maybe my business would have been far. If I had started, maybe I would have helped many people. If I had started, so you're in ifs. Why? Because you never ventured out. Why? Because of fear. So it's just not worth it, okay? There is that internal satisfaction that is only attached to your willingness to help others. And I hope that you can be able to tap into it. And let me tell you, the greatest monies that you will ever get. Now, let me even pause on the impact and the influence and changing people's, but the greatest money, because what fulfillment and satisfaction has done to me, what purpose has done for me is that it has given me the satisfaction and the fulfillment, and it has given me the money. It's like the scenario of seek first the kingdom of God and everything shall be added unto you. Seek, chase purpose, and money will come chasing after you. And purpose, there is purpose, everything that is contained in purpose is about helping other people. So if you start business out of purpose, you're helping other people. If you start, whatever it is, even marriage is purposeful. For me, I decided with my husband that there is something, we have to be fruitful, and there has to be fulfillment, okay? Because then, if us coming together does not help the world, then why do we even need to come together? Okay, so that we decided and said that us coming together, it has to be a fulfillment of a purpose, okay? And there's something that we can achieve that if you were in your corner and I was in my corner, we cannot actually achieve that. So I need you to know that fear is keeping you away from the best kind of happiness, the best of kind of satisfaction you will ever get out of this world, okay? And whatever you are called to accomplish comes with the satisfaction, and it will come, obviously, come with the money. So you don't need to focus all your mind on, you know what, let me just actually, if it was about money, people would have said, please send money. But because it's about service, even in transactional instances, that is why we say, I give you a good dress and you give me money. So that means we are serving, and out of serving, just ask fashionistas. My goodness, when a tailor makes a good dress for you, that is when you understand that fulfillment is actually, or satisfaction is actually at its best, okay? That is when you feel like, okay, this person is putting on my work. This is my work. I have sewed this, I have tailored this, and this person is putting it on. It is the sweetest feeling that anyone can actually get. So I need you to be able to tap into that. I don't want you to miss that. 2024 or any other year where you will listen to this message, I need you to understand one thing, that your fulfillment, your happiness is tied to your contribution, is tied to how much you're going to help other people, is tied to what you bring to the world. And you have been called to do that, and you have it inside of you, and God has bestowed it inside of you. So no possession, no amount of, people have done revenge to feel good. People have bought things to feel good. People have done all sorts of things to feel good. You will do all of them. You will have 1,000 pairs of shoes. You will have, you will have a full wardrobe that is like, a full-fledged boutique or supermarket. You can possess everything in the world. But for as long as there is no contribution coming from you to the world, nothing is going to work out, and nothing is actually going to help. So that other level of emotional satisfaction that is better than anything is what I want you to experience. And even when it comes to the mentorship and how I mentor people, you know, in mentorship, we have what we call the messaging, we have what we call the marketing, we have all those things. But I know where my strength is. My strength is directly with people and how to stir up their God-given talents inside of them. I mean, yes, I can help them a bit in the marketing. I can help them a bit in the messaging, and most times I will even invite other people to come and help out. But that satisfaction of knowing that you are going to help another person, that I'm impacting you so that you can impact, and that you can impact, and that you can, so that it will be a ripple effect and a multiplication of some sorts. That is why I'm talking about this. And I don't know, this could be going to just a few people, but those few people that you know you have a calling inside of you, I know that this is going to resonate and this is going to wake you up. That, by the way, yeah, there are so many people that need to be helped out there. So purpose gives you satisfaction, and it gives you all the money that you need. So I need you to be able to know, people have dreams, but they need cheerleaders. People have sicknesses, but they need people to be able to encourage them, support them, and be able to walk with them. And so if you're progressing in any arena, if you are ahead of others in any arena, can you give a hand to someone that is coming down? If you've brought up your children and they're now teenagers or they're big people, can you be able to lend a hand to someone that is nurturing younger children out there? If you are just starting, I mean, if you have a fashion house and you've been here for quite some years and people know about you, can you be able to hold hand to other people, to other fashionistas, to other designers that are coming up, and tell them it is possible, that if it were possible with me, it is possible, and this is how I have moved this journey. That is why we all have a calling to mentor, okay? So whether if you've written so many books, can you be able to help other authors to actually come up? If you have been a very good leader, and indeed you know that you have led so well, can you be able to train other leaders? Okay, if you've been, as in, you can do this. If you're a very good netballer, can you be able to train others? This can go. If you're a very good cook, I was so amazed. There's a lady, still she was in the mentorship, and we talked, and I was asking her about what she does, and she was telling me she's and that actually it's Coach Caroline, I might as well mention her name, and she was telling me she does homeschooling. And so I told her that in homeschooling, do you know how many parents want to do homeschooling for their children, but they even don't know where to start? You can actually train people in homeschooling. And number two, she was telling me, you know, I know how to cook. I know, and there are people that have always come to me, even husbands that have told me, you know, train my wife how to cook. And I told her that's a full course for you to do, that you can invite them and tell them, okay, come Navy Cola, come buy a kilo of meat, come buy rice, come whatever it is that you need, come, and you can pay this amount of money, or I can be able to take you through, to teach you. And I remember, I had a meeting with her. Coach Carol, I don't know whether you remember this, if you ever watched this message, but should have been in 2021 at Fairway Hotel. And she told me, yeah, and I know people will be able to sign out. And then she gave me a testimony afterwards how some husbands actually signed up for their wives to be trained how to cook. And so I told her it is simple. You can train people how to cook 10 different types of rice. Okay, there is biryani rice, there is pilau, there is the white rice, there is the vegetable rice. You can do a pan-fried rice. You can do, you can do 10 types of rice. Do you know how many husbands will love you for doing that? Because some husbands are eating white rice Monday to Friday to Saturday to the whole year. They are eating white rice. Do you know, you can tell people, I can teach you how to cook 5 different types of posho. Okay, we can do the fried posho, we can do posho with milk, we can do posho with maziwa mala, that is yogurt. We can do different types of posho. And someone will be so willing to. Why? Because they know that their home is not going to be boring, and their meals are not going to be boring, but someone can even come to be trained to also do their own. So you can't tell me that you have nothing. You have something in your hands, but overcome the fear. The fear of embarrassment, the fear of ineffectiveness, and the fear of associated to imposter syndrome. Whatever you have in your hands, you can train another person. If you know how to get good videos, you can train another person. If you know how to speak, That is why I created this mentorship, so that I can train as many people that want, because people used to tell me, oh, I want to be like you, I want to be like you. And I would tell them, you can be better than me. So come, I give you what I have. I will invest in you that time. I will give you everything that I have. I will encourage you. I will walk this journey with you. You can even be better than me. So I want you to give, okay? If you have gone through a state, okay, you've gone through a teenage age, you're an adult, and you see a teenager who is struggling, give them a hand. Tell them, do not make this decision should be made like this. Be slow to do this. Go ahead and do that. You are helping someone. So your satisfaction is going to come out of helping, okay? So I need you to be able to find your voice and raise your voice. Being scared is normal. And that is why I talk about it so many times. Being scared is normal. And I want to normalize that speech or that talk, that being scared is okay and is very normal. But don't wait for that fear to go away, because it will never go away. Otherwise, you will never start on anything. You will never create that company. You will never start that business. You will never launch into that marriage. You will never do anything if you wait for the fear to go away. That is why our slogan in the mentorship is, do it afraid, okay? Yes, you're fearful. Yes, you're afraid, but do it anyway. And courage is not the absence of fear, just like I began speaking. Courage is the willingness to act in spite of it. The willingness to act in spite of it, okay? So I love you, and God bless you. Take care of yourselves. Have a beautiful, beautiful time helping and contributing to other people's lives.